Hello guys, and welcome to this new episode of The Unexplainable. Those who have been following me for a while might remember a video from a few years ago on the Unexplainable channel, where I explored a truly intriguing figure, Valiant Thor. Today, after all this time, I've decided to revisit that topic to delve deeper with new details and a more comprehensive view of this enigmatic character. I will not fail to also address the most controversial aspects of the matter. So if you're passionate about extraterrestrial stories and conspiracy theories, this episode is dedicated just to you. Are you ready? Let's begin. So here is Valiant Thor, the alien who worked at the Pentagon. Valiant Thor. The myth of Valiant Thor emerged thanks to Frank E. Strange's, an American preacher and author who published an extremely controversial work in 1967, The Stranger at the Pentagon. In the work, Strange's describes how he was invited to the Pentagon due to his position as a lecturer and investigator of paranormal phenomena, where he would have learned of an extraterrestrial being who was there at that very time. With great curiosity and some apprehension, Strange's would have accepted the invitation, eager to learn more about this mysterious character. And, once he had met him in person, he would have witnessed extraordinary events related to his alleged mission on Earth. Yes, because according to Strange's life, Valiant was not a normal human being, but an alien from a planet called Venus, sent to Earth with a mission of vital importance for humanity. As expected, his story immediately captured the public's attention, especially during a time when interest in UFOs and extraterrestrials was rapidly growing. The 50s and 60s were a time of intense speculation about the possibility of extraterrestrial contact. Alleged unidentified flying object sightings were becoming more and more frequent, and the idea that there were other forms of extraterrestrial life was considered by a large part of the population almost a given fact. But getting back to our main character, according to Strange's, Valiant Thor was a man of impeccable appearance, about 6 feet tall, with an olive complexion and dark hair. His face was described as extremely handsome, almost flawless. His eyes had an extraordinary depth, story, as if they were able to read into people's hearts. Strangers described him as an extremely charismatic individual, capable of arousing respect and admiration in anyone who met him. But what made Valiant Thor truly extraordinary were his alleged superhuman abilities. According to Strange's testimony, Thor possessed incredible strength and an extraordinary intelligence, with a deep knowledge of sciences, technologies, and philosophy far beyond that of human beings. Moreover, it was said that he was able to communicate telepathically and understand all existing languages on Earth. The story of his arrival on our planet is equally fascinating. Valiant supposedly landed near Alexandria, Virginia in March 1957 aboard a spaceship. According to Strange's, Thor was immediately taken into custody by the United States military authorities and brought to the Pentagon, where he was introduced to the highest levels of the United States government, including President Eisenhower and Vice President Richard Nixon. Thor's mission, as told by Strange's, was to warn humanity about the dangers of nuclear war and to offer assistance in solving the social and environmental problems that were afflicting the planet. However, despite his noble intentions, the United States government would reject his offer of help, preferring to keep his meetings and his presence on Earth a secret. Thor would live for 3 years among American government officials, trying to convince them to change course and adopt more peaceful and sustainable policies. After this period, it is said, he returned to his home planet Venus, leaving behind a veil of mystery that still surrounds his figure today. VALIANT's mission. At this point, you may be wondering what exactly was Valiant Thor's mission on Earth. Rumors suggest that he was sent by an intergalactic council with a crucial task to help humanity avoid self-destruction. As I was saying earlier, during the 50s and 60s, the world was on the brink of total nuclear conflict. Thor would have offered world leaders peaceful solutions, suggesting alternatives to nuclear weapons and encouraging global disarmament. Stranges reports these words spoken by Thor regarding his mission. I came here not to impose my will, but to offer an opportunity. The opportunity to change course, to choose a path of light instead of darkness. The future of humanity depends on the decisions you make today. If you choose love, compassion, and wisdom, you can build a civilization that will not only survive, but thrive. If instead you continue on the path of division and conflict, your world will be doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. The merit to the global responsibility of human beings. He would then add the earth is a precious gift, and every man, woman, and child has the responsibility to preserve it for future generations. Your daily actions, even the smallest ones, contribute to the fate of your planet. Weapons, war, and violence bring nothing but destruction. It's time for humanity to become aware of its responsibility and strive for peace, justice, and sustainability so that your home is not devastated by your own hand. But this was not his only goal. Valiant Thor would also have the task of improving relations between Earth and other extraterrestrial civilizations. Given that the universe would be populated by numerous intelligent species, the intervention of a mediator capable of preparing humans for a possible integration with a larger interstellar community was necessary. The inhabitants of Earth had always had the presumption of being the only ones in the universe and perceived the possible presence of other forms of intelligent life as a threat. Valiant was supposed to change that conception in favor of an idea of peaceful coexistence. To do this, he would have provided the United States government with a series of suggestions for the development of revolutionary technologies, some of which may have contributed to the scientific advances we have seen in the following decades and to this day. And it would have been this noble mission and his strong charisma that brought him before the highest political offices of the state, including the President of the United States himself. A mysterious alliance. When it comes to Valiant Thor, one of the most mysterious and controversial aspects is undoubtedly his alleged collaboration with the United States government, particularly with the CIA and other government agencies. Theories about this mysterious alliance began to take shape in the 1950s. It is said that Thor was received at the White House, where he would have had direct access to the president and other key leaders of the administration. During these meetings, Thor would have discussed his concern about the future of humanity. It is told that Eisenhower was initially skeptical, but in the end he would have been convinced of the need to listen to Thor, considering him a valuable ally in a period of great global uncertainty. However, his advisors would have dissuaded him from following the directives of this intergalactic advisor, considering that humanity was not yet ready to openly welcome an alien. There was an ever-increasing mistrust towards extraterrestrials, considered as potential threats and invaders, rather than saviors. The numerous testimonies about third-kind contacts or abductions led to the idea that aliens wanted to take advantage of the human race. Study it and keep an eye on it. To organize what, according to many, would have been a planned extinction of the human race to make way for the invading aliens. In this context, how could the Earth's population be informed of the alliance with an extraterrestrial without causing a global wave of panic? In addition to Eisenhower, Thor would have also met with other prominent members of the government, including other military officers and CIA officials, of course. But despite all the efforts made, the intergalactic pact would have ended up in vain, and Valiant would have given up on it. And now that you know the story of Valiant Thor and the mystery that has surrounded him for decades now, it's time to stop and reflect. How much truth can there be in this story? Is what Stranger reports in his book a real account or just the product of a vivid imagination? It's time to give the floor to the skeptics. The book Stranger at the Pentagon is considered by many to be the most iconic text among those concerning UFOs and aliens. Its narrative is intriguing and full of details that make it one of the must-read works for conspiracy theory enthusiasts. Despite this, it has received many criticisms that have completely cast doubt on what Strangers has narrated. One of the first controversial points of the work is the total lack of tangible evidence to support what the author has narrated. The descriptions of the encounters between Valiant and high-level political figures like Eisenhower or Nixon are not only considered improbable, but are not supported by any existing historical document or reliable testimony. Sure, someone might think that there are no documents attesting to the existence of Thor, precisely because it was supposed to be kept secret. However, is it really plausible that none of those who would have had contact with him in the past have come forward, confirming what was told in the book? In addition to this, the figure of Frank Stranges has been questioned by many researchers and even by scholars of the paranormal. Stranges was an evangelical pastor and a lecturer known for his interest in the supernatural, and many believe that the story of Valiant Thor was constructed more as a spiritual allegory or a means to convey messages of peace, rather than as a real account of events that happened. Some critics have suggested that Stringer's mixed elements of science fiction with his religious beliefs to create a story that could both fascinate and inspire the public. Counter theories vary. Some argue that Valiant Thor is a completely fictitious creation, a symbol of hope for divine or extraterrestrial intervention in an era of fear. Others hypothesize that the story might have been some sort of disinformation, an urban legend that took hold in a historical period marked by anxiety over the Cold War and fervor for the unidentified flying object phenomenon. For those who blindly believe in the idea that aliens have been on Earth for a long time already, that they may have sent a special envoy among us to save us from self-destruction, Valiant Thor could be a completely real character. There are even photographs on the net that could confirm this conspiracy theory, although, to tell the truth, no one has ever been able to prove it. Personally, I believe that the truth about this character can be brought to light. Looking at the cultural context of the time when it was discussed, Valiant is almost certainly a response to the fears and awkwardness of the 20th century. The figure of the benevolent alien can symbolize hope and progress, often contrasted with the fear of invading aliens, typical of science fiction narrative. Furthermore, this story touches on themes of power and control, suggesting that governments hide the truth about very delicate issues, first and foremost that of the existence of aliens. Be that as it may, Valiant Thor has left a significant imprint in popular culture, inspiring movies, books, and conspiracy theories naturally. His story has influenced works like Whitley Strieber's Communion and movies like The Fourth Kind, which explore the theme of encounters with extraterrestrials and abductions. But Thor is also a symbol of resistance against the system, often used in discussions about human rights and individual freedoms. In short, although there are still many who talk about Thor as a glaring example of the existence of secret government plots, especially American ones, in truth, this figure is the embodiment of the human desire for connection with the unknown and the search for answers, especially existential ones. So it doesn't matter whether it's real or not, its mere existence is enough to understand the deep unrest of the time and the need to take action, significant changes in society and the way we treat ourselves and the world around us. But what do you think of Valiant Thor? Is he a real character or just a product of the need to find an answer to our existence? Let me know in a comment. Unexplainable Podcast is a series conceived, written, and hosted by Luca Perella. Listen to it on YouTube or on all music platforms. The music is posted.